And on the phone with me, we've got Ron Dante. Ron Dante, I'm telling you what, now I could say you were in the Archies, which you were, but that's just a very small part of what you've been involved in. I was looking over the information on you, and you have done a lot of things. And I do want to say that you are one of the nicest guys that I've ever had the pleasure of meeting and talking with. But you actually take time to talk to your fans and show them some time and give them a little appreciation. Ron Dante, I appreciate that of you.
Well, I'm glad to be here, and thank you for that compliment. I love my fans and friends. It's always nice to meet them.
You were born in the great state of New York.
I was born in a little place called Staten Island.
Never heard of it.
And yeah, right. And we had a ferry boat. Took us to Manhattan, and that's where I lived for many years. Recorded most of my hits in Manhattan.
That world is far removed from the world that I live in. I'm in a kind of a rural area and whatnot, but you're in the city. You're in a hub of like a lot of entertainment, a lot of activity going on. How did you kind of find your way through that? How did you get into the entertainment business?
Well, being fortunate enough to be in the tri-state area, being able to get to New York City, take a subway up to the Brill Building area, 49th and Broadway. I went up there with my guitar as a teenager. I'd walk into publishers and try to get my songs heard. I was writing little songs. Finally, one publisher took a notice of me and gave me a break. He gave me a job as staff singer-songwriter, a demo maker, and his name was Don Kirshner, very famous music man from the 60s and 70s who started the careers of Neil Sedaka and, Carole King and Tony Orlando. So I was very fortunate to get into that office and be the staff demo maker. So that's kind of like what it is. But I had a lot of get up and go. I wouldn't take no for an answer. If people didn't like my songs, I'd just go to the next office.
And that's important because a lot of people they'll just kind of lose heart and be like, it's no good, and they step away. And that's an opportunity missed.
Yes, you just have to, you're going to get a lot of no's. There'll be one yes in there that could change your life. So you just got to keep hoping for that one.
Don Kirshner, of course, he's famous or infamous working with the Monkees, for instance.
Yes, he was the one who put together the Monkee group and had all the great writers and producers write and produce for them. He was a genius at that kind of stuff. He was like the P.T. Barnum of music.
So some of the groups that you've been involved with, and you've been involved with a lot of these cartoon groups that were out in the day, like late 60s, including the Archies, which had the biggest hit that probably everybody of all ages knows the song Sugar, Sugar, of course.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to be called in to be the voice of Archie, and Mr. Don Kirshner said, we're going to promote it like crazy, and Sugar Sugar came out of that mix, and it has never died. It gets played constantly, licensed for movies. It's on Disney radio, it's on regular radio, oldie stations, newie stations. Everybody plays it. I'm very blessed that I got to sing it.
Isn't it wild, though? Like, you would have never thought that.
I'm telling you, it's wild.
Now, name some of the groups that you've been involved with. But I should say, I wanted to ask you this question here prior. When you were in the Archies, they had a little song called Jingle Jangle. The female lead in that song, one of the girls in the Archies, was actually not one of the girls in the Archies. Is that correct?
Well, yes. The whole lead track is me in my falsetto, trying to be a cartoon voice. They cut the track too high, and it ended up me singing it like Lou Christie or Frankie Valli. The falsetto. And I have a sweet falsetto, so they didn't know if it was a girl or boy. Also singing background with me is Tony Wine, this girl singer who did the Archies' Betty and Veronica voice. So she's on there too. But basically I'm carrying the lead, and I had to pull my pants up very tightly so I could hit those high notes. That's all I can say.
Another group that I always enjoyed playing this song was from the Detergents. Dang it.
Yeah, dang. Who's that banging the piano? It's my first hit was a novelty group called the Detergents. We did a parody of Leader of the Pack. We called it Leader of the Laundromat. and it worked. It sold about 900,000 records. We toured for a year off that song, and it was kind of fun because I got my feet wet on the tour circuit, and it was a wonderful experience, and people like it. It's funny. We were like Weird Al, only we in the 60s.
Absolutely, and people think, well, that's weird, a parody song, but that was kind of the thing. Like, that happened a lot back then. There was songs that they just changed them around and add a little humorous slant to it, and they became big hits.
Yeah, there was one record, the Flying Saucer record.
Oh yeah,
where they would take clips of each hit at the time, just like a 5-second clip of the record, and they'd be doing an interview, and they'd then insert the song title or the original record. Yeah, like they were talking about a shark, a great white shark, and then they played Melissa Manchester's record, Midnight Blue, where she says, "Wouldn't you give your hand to a friend?"
Right. You know, and the funny thing about that, not to deviate off track, but Buchanan and Goodman is who you're talking about, and those guys apparently, from what I remember, had their office was in a phone booth, so they were unable to get sued because they never had a particular place that they called their home. You know,
right? You couldn't track them down to sue them. That's right. They changed phone booths regularly. They just did it. They got away with murder. It was great. It was great, though.
Yeah, it was. It was a great time for music. What's something that people would be surprised to know about you? Something that you've done that they would go, "Get out of here"? Because I know you've done commercials. I know you've done TV themes. You've been in various forms of bands and writing songs and producing albums and things like that. But what's one thing that somebody would go, "What? Really?"
Well, two things come up that people probably don't know about. One is that there's a literary magazine called the Paris Review that a famous guy named George Plimpton ran, and he was my next door neighbor, and he made me the publisher for 3 years. I was the publisher of a very exclusive literary magazine that did interviews with Hemingway and Truman Capote. So that was something people didn't know about, that I was the publisher. The second one was I was a Broadway producer, and I produced a show called Ain't Misbehavin', which was based on Fats Waller songs, and that toured all over the country for 20 years. So people don't know that I was a Broadway producer and a major literary publisher. So that's as far away from the detergents as I could get.
Yeah, right. So have you ever taken account how many top tenor hits? I mean, you've had hits, top 40 hits, probably countless, but how many top 10 hits with various bands and incarnations have you had over your career so far?
Well, I don't really have a number on that. I know as a producer, as a record producer, singer, songwriter, I must have had 40 top 10s.
Wow.
Or top 20s with different artists that I produced and worked with, from Barry Manilow, of course, to Cher, to Pat Benatar, to I worked with Ray Charles and Dionne Warwick. So as a producer, I did a lot of that work, and as a singer, I had maybe 20 ghost groups that were, some of them were hits, some of them were flops, but they were all interesting groups.
You had to walk down the street with your head held high and go, "I got it. I got it. I know the formula. I got it."
You know what I felt? I felt I was only as good as my next production, my next singing gig. I never looked back on it to say, well, this is now I'm done it. I always was looking for the next interesting, creative thing that I was going to do next. Yeah. And I knew it was a gift that I had a good period, a window to make a lot of music. And I continue to make a lot of music. I'm always looking forward.
I wanted to ask you about some of your producing. You said about Barry Manilow, but you've produced some albums by some other people too.
Yes, no. I originally worked with Pat Benatar on her first album and second album. We did Heartbreaker and You Better Run together.
Oh, nice.
And I was the first one to take her into the studio. Of course, I produced Irene Cara, the Flashdance Girl. I've worked with tons of different people over the years. I've recorded Dionne Warwick, Ray Charles, John Denver. I've been fortunate to be in the studio with beautiful Cher.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, first of all, she's a beautiful artist. She's a legendary, iconic star of stage and screen and records. What a gift it was to be in the studio and make records with her. She was totally professional and a delightful human being. I just couldn't believe it. I had to pinch myself every once in a while. Here's Cher sitting next to me asking, is that a good vocal? I'm speechless sometimes.
I'm kind of flip-flopping back and forth here, but like you were in the Cufflinks, Tracy.
Right, that was in the top 10. At the same time, Sugar Sugar was number 1. Tracy was number 9. People still didn't know my name, but I had the pleasure of knowing my voice was on 2 hit records in the top 10 at the same time. Yeah, the Cufflinks were put together by the guy who wrote Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Yellow Polka Dot Bikini, same songwriter, and he wanted to do this group, and I remember recording it. I wanted it to sound like the Association. I wanted it to have many vocal parts going on at the same time, so I just kept multi-tracking my voice, making believe I was the Association. It came out great. Tracy was a million seller. I was very happy.
I could talk about your history for a long, long time. We could talk for hours, but neither one of us have that amount of time. But what we're here to talk about is the Happy Together Tour, which is crisscrossing the country as we speak. You're doing date after date after date after date. They're like close together. Like one day you're in this part of town, next day you're in this part of the state, and the next day you're in this part of the state.
Oh, yeah. Next 5 or 6 days, we'll be doing a show a day.
Wow.
A show a day, and the total will be about 50 dates over a 3-month period. I'm just keeping in shape, taking a lot of vitamins, and hoping for the best.
Yeah, when I talked to you earlier, you were talking about being on the bus just like the old days, riding across in the bus.
We're gonna go up to Massachusetts. We just got back from Florida, Biloxi, Tennessee. Mississippi. I'm sorry, and we're just having the greatest time. I mean, it's great. It's a great crew of people. The artists on the Box Tops Association, they're all wonderful people.
Oh yeah,
wonderful. Easy to get along with. No divas. Everybody's happy to be on the show. Mark and Howard from the Turtles are the nicest guys and really funny. I'm looking forward to seeing all the fans at the shows.
For people that haven't seen this show, this is basically, it's just a cavalcade of stars. I mean, you have, like you said, you mentioned a lot of these bands, that there's more. There's Cowsills, there's Chuck Negron from Three Dog Night, and they come out, and it's high energy, it's very happy, it's fun, everybody's out of their seat, they're just having a great time.
Yeah, and the audience went crazy. We've just done 5 shows, right, just previously in the last 5 days, and it is the biggest party you will ever see. Everybody sings all the hits with us. All the fans in the audience know, they come out and they sing Happy Together, they sing Celebrate, they sing all the great hits. It's Sugar Sugar, everybody's up on their feet dancing and singing to it. The audience goes crazy. It's a crazy night. It's so happy. We do the hit songs just the way the record sounded. The band plays all the right figures, the right pocket, the right sounds. All the vocals are the same. We do the hits, and I am happy to do my hit. I am thrilled to do Jingle Jangle, Bang Shang-a-Lang, Tracy, and of course Sugar Sugar. I am thrilled to do it exactly in the same key, and everybody sings along. It's just a great night. We're there to make the people happy.
What part of the show are you in?
Well, because I'm such a high-energy person, I open the show. I am the first act. I get the people up and dancing and rocking right away. I give them a little history about the Archies, and we even play the cartoon behind me on the big screen.
Yeah.
So my opening is very much a high energy. So I open the show.
Well, it's going to be awesome to see you coming up June 23rd, as a matter of fact, at the Williamsport Arts Center, the Happy Together Tour. Ron Dante, I am so privileged to have the opportunity to talk to you, and I look forward to seeing you, buddy.
Well, I'll be there, Bob. Come on backstage, say hello.